Okay, hello everyone. So let me quickly check a few settings here, make sure everything's okay. Sound's coming through loud and clear from what I can see. Where's the chat? Let's go to docs. Let's get the chat up here so I can see it on the side of my screen. Brandonna, good to see you. I've got one person here. Yes, I'm so happy it's not 3 a.m. PST. Yeah, I think, are you referring to my uploads I do of the random videos at 11 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, I think I must be about eight to 9 hours different from you. Vmore, good to see you. He says, let's go. All right, guys, just as people are coming in, I guess I've got a little, some good news to share. I managed to solve the broken laptop debacle. So yeah, if you didn't know, my laptop about a week ago decided to just die on me. The hard drive was no longer viable. Complete hard drive failure. I have yet to retrieve the data from it. I need to crack the laptop open and get the data back. I have a lot of images on there that I hadn't backed up in about 6 months, which is my fault. It was a stupid thing on my behalf. Um, so I'm going to work on recovering those images. So this live show normally has like a scrolling of about 300 images in the background as I talk. And that's just not going to be able to be the case because, like I said, I've missed these. But I have got a new laptop. I've got a brand new MacBook Air Mark M2 chip, 2022, which is the latest version of this MacBook Air. Um, it's a huge upgrade from what I used to have. I don't even have a microphone plugged in for this one, and the mic quality I believe is 10 times better. This thing is night and day with speed. This setting all this up was a breeze. So maybe that laptop breaking was a blessing in disguise because it was about 10 years old. I needed a serious hardware upgrade, and it looks like I've got it now. I def Being able to afford this, I did unfortunately have to go into some savings we had for my toddler because there's this thing in the UK, you might not know about this, but you get basically something called it's like a child allowance type thing. It's something the government gives you every week or every month, just to help support the child. Now, obviously, we were quite well off when we first started. When we had a child, we had some high paying jobs, both of us. So we just saved all that money that the government gave us every month. We thought, we'll save it for Henry, my son, when he's older. And that's what we've been doing. And as considering it's free money from the government, it came to quite a decent amount after 2 years. So it's just been sat there. But in order to replace the laptop and be able to do any work, because I am a photographer, I do need a laptop that works. We had to just dip into that. Obviously, I intend to replace the money when we can, but that's kind of what we had to do just to find a quick solution. So I'm not too happy about that, but I am happy that I do have a laptop that's part of this generation now. Like I said, it's definitely a huge upgrade. Hopefully, this means I can make videos again of higher quality and not just recordings in my car, which I've been doing all week. With two varying degrees of success. I think some people like those random little talks I do. I think some people absolutely hate them as well. I've had a very mixed reception. I've lost just as many subscribers as I've gained this month. I've gained 400 subscribers this month, but I've also lost 200. So I've only gained actually 200 subscribers. And the most recent videos I've been doing on crop circles and Project Bluebeam and just random ruminations and thoughts about things, I've actually lost about 50 subscribers from those. So yeah, people are not liking me just talking randomly into the camera, it seems. But I'm sure there are some people out there who do enjoy it. So, you got to take the good with the bad, I suppose. But yeah, guys, let me know. Is the mic quality on this any good? This is the first live stream I'm doing with this laptop, so let me know in the chat if this actually sounds decent, if it's loud and clear. If there's any issues with the audio, let me know. And I'll put the webcam on here. This is the built-in webcam. It's a lot better, a lot clearer. It's actually 1080p, which it wasn't in the past. I think it was 720 or something. Yeah, it looks a lot better, and the bitrate seems a lot better as well. Um, the streaming seems a lot smoother, which I'm happy about. Oh, there's Maraca there. Let's get that out of the way. Yeah, so how we doing, guys? Anyway, I've got a bit of a show for you guys today. Nothing big today. Like I said, because I've been scrambling around trying to sort this out. I've not had time to really do much research. I did have a chance midweek to finish a chapter of my book, chapter 12. I finished section 1. We'll go into it later, but just a quick summary. I finished section 1 now, which is the first 10 chapters, and I have just finished the first chapter of section 2. So we're on a roll. We're getting there. We're getting there. The sound is a bit low for me. I've got there. Is that right? Let's see what I can do about that. Let me go to filters. Let me just go there. Let's put the gain up a little bit, shall we? Okay, I've increased the gain just a small amount. Is that better? Better or worse? Let me know. Hi, Alpha Talks. It's good to see you. Um, Cosmic Dumpster sounds fine. I don't mind the random talks. Oh, that's good. Sounds pretty good on my end. Okay, I've like up the gain just a little bit, so that improves the sound quality just a little bit. I mean, this is I don't want to get much closer to the screen because then it'll just be my eyes, which is not what we want, really, is it? But it looks like the volume is peaking at a decent level to me. It's a bit lower than what I would normally have it at with my microphone. But if I can do these without the microphone, I'll be more than happy because this makes my life a lot easier. It means I can sit on the sofa comfortably and talk to you guys rather than having to set up on the table with a stool which hurts to sit on for too long. So this is better for me. Sounds good, nice and crispy, says Michael. That's good. Wyodano says he loves the random talks. Um, Good. So some people like them. See, this is the problem with I've learnt with me as a person, as a personality. You either love me or you hate me. I'm just one of those people. There's no in between. I don't know anybody who's when when they get to know me is just neutral. All my life it's been like that. Either you really get on with me and you like me, or I'm your mortal enemy. That seems to be the divide, and it's no different with YouTube. I get hate comments and I get love comments, and there's no in between. Rarely anything neutral. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Some people just like to share ideas, which is great. But I do seem to have people who just vehemently do not like me, cannot stand to listen to me, just outright put off instantly by my demeanor and the way I am. And then I have some people who get along with me and want to be friends, and have a cup of coffee. And it's just I'm a very polarizing character that way. I've learned over the years, and it's been that way everywhere I've been for some reason. Um, what have we got here? Better, louder, fuller. Okay, that's good. Um, Better on the mobile, great on iPad. That's good. Right, so what I'll do in the future, I haven't had time to do it then. So I will, on OBS, the software I use, I can apply filters to my microphone. I did go through the process with the external mic I used to use, and it does sort all the levels out. So when I speak, it peaks at just the right point without going over. And also, it only activates when I speak, but not too soon and not too little, so it cuts things off. I haven't gone through that process yet with the internal mic. I just want to hear what this actually sounds like on its own without me having to do anything to it first. So I'll listen back to this live stream. I'll see the pros and cons of just leaving it as it is. And then I'll go. It takes about 20 minutes to half an hour testing the microphone, changing these levels to get the studio quality sound, which I got with the previous microphone. So I'll have to do that after this stream and then test it for the next one. But hopefully for now, this will do. This will do for now. As long as you can hear me loud and clear, there's no problems. Um, Car talks are great. I enjoy them very much. Nice haircut, thank you. Yeah, it was about time. Yeah, I had to get my son's haircut. His grows just like mine, like a mop. And I thought, we're going on holiday next week. It'll probably be nice. And also, I had a wedding to shoot yesterday. And I looked like a hobo. My beard was scraggly and wild, and my hair was just an absolute mess. I don't do anything with anything. I just let it go, and I don't really try to control it anyway. And I don't think that would have been a good look for a wedding. So I did have to get a haircut the day before, which I've done. Um, you're like a Victorian English character. Okay, that's the first I've ever heard that. But I like that. I'll take it. Cool. Random question. Do you have any idea what the Nickelodeon green slime baptism of the celebs is all about? It's now you mention it, I remember that. I remember people getting slimed. Yeah, that's a strange one, isn't it? I'm not really giving any thought to it now you mention it. You've just given me like a childhood like brain explosion of imagery. But I remember that being a thing, yeah. Is that still going on? I mean, I used to watch that like, I don't know, 17 years ago, if 20 years ago. Is that still a thing? I don't know, but it's now you've phrased it like that. I feel like I'm gonna have to go back and have have a look if there's anything dodgy about it. But I don't know. I could not give you an opinion on that right now. But it's an interesting one. Um, I've never thought about it like that before. It's kind of like the ice bucket challenge, wasn't it? But with green slime, essentially. That's old school though. Yeah, really old school. What else have we got? Uh, who would not love a guy who likes stuffed bears? Well, these aren't mine. These are these are my child's. But I kind of like having this guy in the background. It makes me laugh. There we go. We'll leave him there for now. Uh, right. Yeah. So the show today, I'm gonna give a quick breakdown of something I was gonna make a video about, but unfortunately, like I said, I've not had a chance. Because the laptop has just not been around. I might still make a video about this, but it's not. I was just going to have it as a part of a video, like a quick discussion of many different things, like I usually do with my Nephilim Look Like Clowns series. I haven't made an episode for that in a while, but that's only because I do have a script written out, which there would have been an episode released last week if the laptop hadn't broken, and it's on the Venom character from the Spider-Man universe and everything about Venom and his history and what he is and where he comes from. It's just the Nephilim story to a core, the demonic story broken down to a T, and it'll just make a perfect video that I think a lot of people enjoy in the pop culture world. People seem to like it when I reference pop culture with this clown theory, and I do focus heavily on culture and history instead and ritualistic practices. And maybe that's a bit dry for some people. Some people just want to hear about musicians and cartoons and films sometimes. That's I suppose that's what they can relate to more, especially in the West. So I had this whole script written out which just breaks down the history of the character Venom and Carnage, his alter ego version of him, the symbiote and where that comes from, and the black goo symbolism involved with all of that. The father of the creator of all of these symbiotes is actually a eldritch god of darkness who has his own underworld, and yeah, it's crazy when you actually start looking into it. The parallels between the fallen angels and this the symbiotes and the creation of the symbiote. The whole thing is just it's just a wash with Nephilim Enochian symbolism. You can clearly see where the creator got their inspiration from. Is it Stan Lee who did Spider Man? Yeah, you can. Yeah, and there's loads to do with that guy as well, which I could probably include in the video now. I think about it, but I haven't thought about it till this very moment. That I probably should bring Stan Lee into all of this, but just a pure surface level symbolism alone with the whole Venom Spider Man thing. Yeah, there's a lot there. So I have a video ready to go. I just need to. This is the thing. I had all the images prepped. Right. It happened on the day. Right. I prepped about 50 images, cropped them to the right size, which we're gonna play as I read the script. Okay. And then I went upstairs to the toilet, came down, and the laptop was broken. Done. Okay. It just would not turn on. Couldn't ran diagnostics. Hard drive. Critical failure, will not boot into BIOS mode, will not boot into safe mode, cannot even get past the loading screen. And when you run diagnostics, which was the only thing I could do, every test I did, instant failure before it got anywhere, hard drive, critical failure. And I was like, typical, I was just about to make a video. Luckily, the script is backed up online, but all those images I literally spent 3 hours compiling, gone. So I don't know if I'm gonna wait till I can see if I can get some any data off the hard drive at all, or if I just start again and get all the photos again. I'm probably just gonna start again, to be honest. It might be quicker. But that's something I'll work on in the next week and try and get to you guys for the week after. Like I said, I'm going away with my family for the next week from Monday to Friday. So it's probably very little I'm going to be able to do in that time. But I'll try and get something more polished to you guys a lot sooner. I did leave an apology on Patreon actually, just sorry guys that I've not been pumping out the usual stuff. And it's been detrimental. Like I said, I explained, it was detrimental to me to even make these car videos. I've actually lost a lot of subscribers doing it. Maybe people thought I would just constantly do the clown thing, and now they're upset that I'm not constantly doing it. But I don't want to box myself in like that. I have plenty of thoughts about other things. Um, I know that, and this is the Truth or Therapy session, which I do every week, where you get to just vent about your thoughts and feelings about the state of the world, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm venting to you guys. There's ups and downs to this YouTube game, honestly. You can't please everybody. But yeah, I'm hoping to get that Venom video out pretty soon. Um, I will read to you today, once I've done a quick little presentation on some glass clowns of Italy. Nothing major about this one. They're just something I've noticed that has existed in culture for a while, and I have a little personal anecdote about it. And I thought it'd just be funny to talk about for 20 minutes or so. And then I'm going to read from one of the latest chapters of my book just to see what you guys think about it. Um, Very rough draft, just recently written. Probably plenty more that should be said yet in this chapter. Um, or maybe said later in different the chapters within this section, perhaps. But I'm going to do a little bit of a book reading for you guys, just so you can all stay up to date with where I am with that. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do today. Let's just quickly check these chat messages. You may find the slime answer in the Essene Book of Revelation. Cryptic. Have you got a particular passage number there to help speed that process up? That'll be useful. Hey Paul, wanted to mention that the appearance of Carrot Top is definitely clown symbolism. Prop comedy is considered clowning and not stand-up comedy, and few are allowed to do it. That's interesting. That is a very interesting point, actually. Yeah, about the whole the woman on the plane. Yeah, so I did make a video about that last week, and that went off. I've got about 2,500 views off that one video alone, very quickly within like the first 3 days, and it seemed like that was in the forefront of everyone's mind, and I was just looking at that event thinking like, are they trying to gaslight everybody here? Is this just a way to wind everybody up? Like, are they trying to make anybody who thinks anything slightly conspiratorial is crazy? Is that what that event was for? Crazy lady thinks people aren't real on a plane. Um, but we know, in this world, there are false actors out there and corrupt people, and maybe even what we would call fake people in a way. They've been hinting at it forever in the media, that just under the skin is a lizard, that type of thing. You think of the series V, for example. You know what I mean? You think of the show They Live, where the guy puts on the glasses and he sees what they truly look like, and it's this other being living among humans, and if they've been programming us with it in the media, then I would say maybe it's highly possible that could be a reality in some slight way. If they're showing it on the TV, there's probably more truth to it than we realize. And was this whole publicized event, including Carrot Top, the ginger prop comedian, the clown, saying, "Yeah, I saw it." It's kind of like so bizarre. It's just a strange narrative from start to finish. And I just said some thoughts on it, and people seem to like it. But yeah, that whole thing was just weird. And she even I know I look this isn't disclaimer. This is not me doing the symbol because I am a part of anything. Because I know there's some paranoid people out there. But she did this with her fingers and did the as above so really quickly, just kind of whipped it out like that, and that screenshot is in the thumbnail. It's like, why would you do that? Who does this with their fingers anyway? That's such an odd movement. You know what I mean? Just strange. And people were saying there was a line appearing here on her neck, which looked like she had some kind of silicone mask on. I don't know about that. That could have literally just been a shadow of a necklace. It could have been that. It didn't seem like a high quality camera, and it was in very low light conditions. And you do get artifacts like that appearing under low light conditions sometimes. So I can't say that's for sure. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's an interesting point about Carrot Top. Thanks for pointing that out, Rebecca. I appreciate it. Um, Continued. In fact, comedy is a human aspect. Demons can only clown to make us laugh. Interesting. I have a feeling that the Venom breakdown would yield more subscribers. Maybe a disembodied spirit got into your hard drive to sabotage your success. Well, maybe. Maybe. It's also possible that my laptop just overheated one too many times. It used to sound like a jet engine. Just trying to run the internet, just trying to run Google Chrome. It was severely outdated. The hardware could not handle the required specifications to run the most basic of programs these days. The updates were just way too far advanced for the hardware, and I think I finally pushed it to its limits, and I think it frazzled, it burnt out. Um, but maybe it was time anyway, and now I've got this laptop to replace it. I'm in a much better position. Maybe it was meant to be. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna I'm not going to speculate that I'm being attacked by demons, but it's highly possible. I'm not going to deny that. It won't be the first time I have actually been physically attacked by demons, mentally and emotionally and physically. But in this case, I think it was human error. It was my stupidity at trying to cling on for too long and not backing up the work, understanding it was coming. It was time. So I'm going to put that down to my fault rather than the demons for now. Sometimes it's good to prune. Those subs weren't real fans anyway. Yeah, no, like I said, I might say I've said I've lost these subscribers, but I've gained 200 this month as well. And I did go away for 5 years, so it's likely a lot of these subscribers are seeing me back in their feed and just aren't interested anymore. And just like, no, I don't want to follow this guy anymore. That was from years ago. I'm not interested in that. And they're just getting rid of me or trimming their subscriber list. A lot of that. Quite a few of them, maybe about well, not a few. I say literally a few. It seems like out of the past 28 days, out of the 200 who've unsubscribed, about 8 of them and 10 of them were like dead channels. They just don't exist anymore. So there's stuff like that as well. But I did look at the stats for the most recent videos I posted, where it's just me talking in the car, and I have actually lost a lot from those specifically, quite quickly. Like I said, I do have some polarizing opinions sometimes. A lot of people don't think I'm on the side. I got some random comment from some guy today actually. I'm just I'm just gonna read it to you. It's much more fun just to read these comments. Just so you can understand the type of stuff I have to deal with. Maybe it'd be good just to share this with you. So give me a second. Let me just load this up. My laptop's a lot faster these days, so I should be able to get there a lot quicker. If I go to my channel comments, where is it? Where is it? Right. So this is a comment I got 20 hours ago to my recent video where I said there are two-ish camps where I talk about every time you go through the motions of learning about conspiracies, every topic kind of has a split worldview, either the Christian perspective or the New Age atheistic Gnostic perspective. And there's always these two camps everywhere you go. And that was it. It was just an observational video about an opinion about the process of waking up. It was nothing groundbreaking. It's just interesting to think about. It's just a discussion about the process we all have to go through. And from that video, this guy left this comment saying, "This bloke is a F-wit puppet designed to distract from reality and believe his fantasy mind game. If you are locked into this claptrap idiot, if you are locked into the claptrap this idiot spouts, then I have a bridge to sell you. He is the poster boy of misinformation. Are you awake? Are you a sponge? Hashtag twisted world." I checked because I can see analytics to people who subscribe to me. If I float my thing just above it, it says he's been subscribed to me for 5 years. And I just replied, like, you've been subscribed to me for 5 years, and now you say something stupid like this. It's kind of, where does this come from? Honestly, where does this come from? Like, how am I a puppet designed to distract from reality? If I'm a puppet, then the pay is awful. I'm not getting paid enough to be a puppet. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have no benefits from being used willfully, to deceive people. I'm gaining no back. I wish surely these people who do shill get paid a decent wage. Where's my money if that's the case? Because I'm getting nothing. I'm getting broken laptops and debt from all of this. He is the poster boy of misinformation. I guess that's a compliment that he considers me a poster boy in some way. I don't know. But what misinformation from that video where I just discussed that there's Christian worldviews and Gnostic worldviews, and that's as far as it really summarized goes. And from that, he considers me some kind of paid agent out there to deceive people. And do people read these comments and then unsubscribe from me thinking it's true? I don't know. People always say if you're receiving flack, then you must be above the target. Um, and I don't know. I feel like I've been swimming in behind enemy lines for years. I don't think. I think this is just literally people going crazy because I say something that touches a nerve slightly. Um, I went onto his channel and he seems like he's a flat Earth person, which is fine. I am, I'm not against the concept at all. I do believe we've been lied to about our cosmology, just like a lot of people in our culture do. But I don't dwell on it like a lot of people do in this culture. And when I point out, for example, that people need to cool it a little bit, like I get it's a big deal and it's important, but you have a life to live, and no one's gonna believe you just because you say it. And a lot of people lose themselves completely to that subject and make their entire life about it to the point where it's detrimental to their very existence, to be honest. And they don't have a life anymore, and perhaps people don't like me pointing that out. I don't know, and that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it, but I'm not your enemy just because I'm giving you a bit of advice to relax a little bit and move on, and perhaps, live some life rather than obsessing over this thing you can't control or change. Maybe I'm ranting a bit. I don't know. But when I mentioned slightly something like that, I get these comments where these people just go crazy. They snap. You know, the amount of times I've accidentally slipped out with the word global, just not thinking about it. It's in my brain, you know what I mean, from years of programming. And every now and then I say, there's this global conspiracy. Just off the cuff, I say something like that. And there's always somebody who leaves that smarmy little shit-eating grin comment. There's no such thing as a globe. It's kind of like, shut up, just shut up, please. It's wow. You know what I meant. Get over it. Stop being so pedantic. And it's like, what a terrible image. What a terrible attitude. It's like, I don't know. There's a random rant for you guys. Some of the things I have to put up with in these comments, honestly. What have we got? What have we got here? Let's see some of your reactions to this. Um, what are your thoughts on the movie Clown from 2014? Being directed by John Watts, the guy who directed the recent Spider-Man trilogy. Thanks for reminding me of that connection. Um, yeah, Clown. Yeah, I did do a video on it. I think it's one of the 20 episodes. It's 26 or 27 or something. And it's actually from that film I got my idea for the clown, the thing they wear around the neck. It's that what do we call it now? It's a frill around the neck of some ways, and it's like a fluffy thing that they put around like a disc. And Victorian people used to wear them, and it seems like a sign of aristocracy, like they're trying to mimic this, like the kings and queens, trying to mock them in a way. But that frill around the neck in the clown movie was actually a part of the skin of the mask that the person put on in that film, which is quite interesting. And it wasn't just skin, it had spines running through it, like a reptilian frill. Okay, and only lizards have these thing called frills. Some of them do, mainly in Australia, that kind of fan out like a big circle around the face. It's like a disc when they fan it out, and it's got these bones in them, these spines, to help it move up and down and create that effect. That weird effect. And I do think a lot of clowns wear these frills around the neck, not just to represent the aristocracy, which are descendants of reptilian Nephilim lizards, you know. So symbolically, there's that. But I think they are literally trying to represent the reptilian frill around the neck, and that movie showed that to me because what if you don't know what the man in that film puts on a clown costume he finds in an attic, because he quickly needed a clown costume for his daughter's birthday or something, but he finds out he can't take it off, and what he's actually done is put on the skin of a demon called a cloyne. It's fictional, completely fictional. There's not a real thing in history called a cloyne, but they try to make it out that it's Scandinavian folklore. This demon called a cloyne, this reptile monster that ate children. And this man has put on the skin, and now he's being possessed by the demon. He can't take it off. Every time he tries to tear it off, he tears his own skin off, type of thing. But he can't remove it until he eats 5 children. So, this link to clowns, synonymously linked with demons and possession, and reptiles and eating humans. It's all there in that one film. Yeah, but the reptilian frill, that film gave me that clue. So that's quite interesting. What else have we got here? What does that say about the recent Spider-Man movies watched by millions all over the world? That's right, Peter. Yeah, no, interesting connection though. Yeah, I forgot. I did read that, but you've just reminded me. Yeah, he did direct the Spider-Man trilogy, and obviously with the symbiotes in the obviously linking to Venom and Carnage. Fascinating, fascinating. Just off the cuff here, I'm just going to throw it out to you guys. I was going to mention this in the video, but Carnage, who's like the crazier version of Venom. He's like even more spiky and he's red and blood colored, and has these even more scary looking teeth, type of thing. Far more chaotic than Venom. It's said that he is the Joker of the MCU, of the Marvel universe. So DC have the Joker clown image, that chaotic character with a big wide grin, and always coming out with witty comedic lines that are just nihilistic and funny and destructive and psychotic. Well, that's what the character of Carnage does too. He also has a very similar demeanor, and the Carnage, the symbiote, mixes with a serial killer who has a similar attitude. And lo and behold, that particular serial killer is a pale-skinned, red-haired individual. So I think they knew what they were doing. There's definitely something to it. But again, that'll all be in the main video once the final cut gets made. What else have we got? It was a great interpretation of the situation. Love your perspective, says Rebecca. Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad some people are getting something out of those videos. I'm going to cool it this week. There won't be as many. I did record one on the way home from a wedding I was the photographer for yesterday. And it's more of just a retrospective video about how things have changed in my life. It's a bit of a testimony video, so you guys might like that. So yeah, that's to come. Probably going to release that maybe Tuesday, just to spread things out throughout the week. And maybe I'll try and record a quick video while I'm on holiday for you guys. But like I said, because I am on holiday, I might not be able to pump out quite as many videos next week as I have been. What else have we got here? Sorry, the chat's just jumping around for me. There is a decent reading of a scene revelation on YouTube. I have reading issues, so I'm not sure on the verses, but it's fairly shortlisted. Okay, I'll check it out, Cosmic Dumpster. Thanks for sharing that with me. Right, let's not give them that kind of credit. Okay. You have helped me to open my eyes to a lot of topics. Well, okay, I'm glad, Gallagher. Thank you. Love your bears for obvious reasons. Me being a mama bear, thank you for your content, says Texas Mama Bear. Yeah, I like him too. I think I might make these a regular feature to my show. Yeah, I like him having them here. Hey everyone, good lord, that person has drank the Kool-Aid big time. Yeah, honestly. This is the thing, right? I check them every month, alright, but I get comments that automatically get filtered by YouTube, and I can't do much about it. I'm pretty moderate. I let a lot of things slide. I let people say their mind. I don't really censor. But YouTube automatically censors sometimes when people swear or get violent or something like that. And every now and then I check the comments which have been held for review. And most of the time, the ones that get held for review aren't that bad, and they're there for me to see straight away. But then right at the bottom, it says, some comments have been hidden because they may be offensive. Okay. So even within the withheld comments, there's even more withheld comments under that, the dark, seedy underground of withheld comments. And when I click them, I get about 5 or 6. This is every month. I get about 5 or 6 violently angry messages where people are just calling me all sorts. And I guess it just comes with the territory. You get 2,000 views. 3 of those people are going to say something vicious to you. It's just the statistics. Unfortunately, it's the way it works out. I try and check that section as less often as I possibly can. But every now and then I open it and there's a few comments in there, and yeah, I've had a few lately. Um, they're all coming out of the woodwork. We appreciate you and your work. That's great. Thank you. What else have we got? Um, Winds of Change. Good to see you. Crambell. Hello from Mexico. Thanks for being here. If you don't agree, then why stay subscribed? You have opened my eyes to a deeper layer of many things. Well, there we go. Thank you. Saving the children is what's important, says Mike Toecutter. Absolutely. I can agree with everyone can get on board with that as a father myself. I thought Lucifer was mistranslation from the Bible. Yes, Earth is flat. Ruffle says vibes. Yeah. We appreciate you and your work. No matter what the shape of this place, I'm pretty sure it's not the globe pushed at us. We won't ever be able to prove it, so there's that divide and conquer still doing a number on the whole world. Yeah, it's an extremely unnecessarily divisive topic, is what I'm saying. And some people have got extremely militant about that topic, and it's cultish. It's weird. It's very weird how people have got about that particular topic. I'm. It's like it's the right information in the wrong hands. I've used that phrase before in the past when describing and discussing things like chemtrails. It's like they might have some great information which people would benefit from knowing, but they're the wrong people to be sharing it. No one's going to believe these people. They look insane. Not one person is going to listen to them and watch them and look at them and observe them and think, I want to be like you. Teach me the things that have made you like this. Please make me like this. That's not what people think when they look at them and listen to them. They look at them and they listen to them try and spread this message, and they go, Jesus Christ, I don't want anything to do with something that makes people act like that. It's the right information, a lot of truth, but it's just being handled awfully by the wrong people. And that's I can't help but wonder over the years as I observe this happen to a lot of topics, if it isn't slightly by design. If that's what they want, if that's their aim, and maybe they encourage or even lift up those who they know will get ridiculed for sharing the message simply by their character and demeanor. I reckon some of them get pushed actually. I've started to think over the years that these people are purposefully, probably ignorantly, they might just be real people out there who are passionate about the earth being flat, but they're just so terrible with the message that people have noticed in control and say, push him. Let people see him first when that message gets out. Let him be the one that people see first so they get put off by it straight away. I do wonder if that's going on. I really do, because charisma is the number one selling point for anything, really. People don't buy products, they buy the person selling the product or the advert selling the product. People don't buy things, they buy feelings. They buy the way a thing makes them feel. That's sad, but that's how people psychologically think and work. And when we're discussing things like this, which are highly sensitive, complex topics, you've got to present it well. You've got to do it. You got to give it the right respect and proper service if you want people to take you seriously. You're challenging paradigms which people aren't just going to willingly allow to be challenged unless you're a good salesman, unfortunately. And I've luckily I have managed when doing my research to see past the character telling me the information. All I want is the information. I don't care who's telling me or how they tell me. But most people do not think or work like that. You know, I've listened to hour-long presentations from people who have the most annoying voice in the world, but I don't care. I'll still listen and I'll get through it and I'll see past it and it won't bother me. But I know a lot of people are just not going to listen simply because they don't like the sound of that person's voice. It happens, you know, and it's perfectly fine. That's normal. That's normal, and I'm not surprised that happens. But it, you know, people need to kind of up their game a little bit and realize that, you know, it's like the homeless person in the street screaming the world's going to end. Are you going to listen to that guy? What if a guy in a suit comes up to you and gives you some information about things he's found recently, which indicate that something might happen in the future, which might not be good for all of us? You're probably more inclined to listen to that guy. He seems well put together. Maybe he's onto something, you know, rather than that guy over there screaming, you know, at the wall and like, I don't know, fighting with someone over a sandwich. Probably not going to listen to that guy, are you? You know, and they're extreme examples, but I do feel like there are a lot of people screaming at walls online sometimes, and they look a bit insane. And just be more self-aware, please. I guess is all I'm trying to say. That's all I've ever been trying to say. Um, yeah. Okay. What else have we got? Matter, yes, of course it matter. I know this realm is flat is necessary, the ground for all other questions. YouTube channels, Visor Cosmos show the moon as an optical mirror showing the bigger Earth with all the hidden continents. No, it is provable. Earth being flat is easily provable. People don't research. You fool, you research and share others. Would know too. You write about charism, but that's sorry. That apart flat eye. Earth is not concept is fact, and many people already did the hard work and prove so much prove maybe you don't research about this. See, this is what I mean, Andre. Did you actually listen to a word I just said? Do you think that random rant you've just given me of one thing after another, you know, you're preaching to the choir first of all. We're all on your side. We like the information. We also know we've all been lied to here. I am telling you, you're presenting it terribly. Okay, there are people out there who have done fantastic work. Yes, I did not say that did not happen. I am saying there are people out there who have rolled with it so much, they made their entire identity about it so much that they've become utterly detached from reality and other people. And it's not a good look. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm on your side. Okay, I'm trying to help people. My whole job when I first started this channel, it's like 7, 8, 9 years ago. I don't even know anymore. 2014. When I started the channel, I came at it after following people in activist groups in the streets, trying to convince people about chemtrails. And I was on board. I believed it, you know. And I still do. And I went to these protests where we went out there giving leaflets to people, trying to convince them that these things in the sky are dangerous. They aren't what you think they are. They're not contrails. No one took us seriously. And I realized because I have eyes, it's because everyone around me who was doing this looked insane. They were acting crazy. They had a crazy look in their eyes and they were dressed like lunatics. Okay? And I realized it's not about the message. It's not about the truth. It's about the person telling the truth. That's how you convince people. You be somebody people can listen to, who will take seriously. People are terrified of the truth simply because they don't want it to change them, all right? It comes with change, learning the truth. It comes with having to become a new person, okay? Be born again if you want to get that far, all right? Now, if they see somebody who claims to have the truth, who looks an absolute mess, are they going to want to know that truth and end up becoming like that person who looks like an absolute mess? No. So they shut off. They don't listen. Because all they think is, I don't want to end up like them. That we have to be aware of that. I'm sorry, we have to be aware of this. We can't just pretend like this isn't a thing that we should be conscious of. And if we're not being conscious of it, we're being fools. And nothing will change. Nobody will get convinced. I don't know. I'm getting angry. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's talk about some glass clowns, all right? Um, quickly check the chat and then I'll go to the glass clowns. Um, the Pied Piper Google image search often looks like clowns. Jess says, yeah, the Pied Piper is an interesting story as well, isn't it? About the refusing to pay the man who got rid of all the rats, so he took all the children. It's a cautionary tale at its best. Um, my wife says, I feel like you're targeting me with that comment. Plenty of voices I don't like. Yeah, and well, she doesn't like Paul Joseph Watson's voice, is what she's saying there. She finds it too annoying to listen to him, and that's fair enough, you know. Ironically enough, though, that is our accent. I think she would have heard that. She would have heard that. He's from the same place I am, similar Manchester area. Um, Amy, I completely agree. They don't like the truth because it means he is really right above us. Yeah, that comes with the whole you have to change thing. You know, that does that too. That's true. I watched a great video the other day called "Feeding Moloch: The Sacrifice of Children to the Altar of Capitalism." Interesting. I'll look into that. The moon is plasma. Exactly, Paul. The treasures are here. Oh, okay. Okay, so we're talking about the moon right now. I've been angry for 2 days. Octagon has been angry for 2 days. She says, "Hang on, it is." To be fair, I hate my own voice too. Yeah, yeah. Um, Batman, good to see you. Right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to give a quick presentation now, just to show you these clowns that I found. These glass clowns. They're very creepy looking things. Um, I'm from Yorkshire. Yeah, that's even worse. Okay, we'll leave that there. Right, I'm going to share the screen with you guys. I have a little selection of images I've just quickly thrown together, and I'll tell you a bit of an anecdote myself about these clowns that have been around that I used to see. So if we go to slideshow here, there we go, and we'll just restart this slideshow. Right, so look at these things. I mean, just look at them, right? So, if say you were, you've just bought a new house or you're redecorating, let's say, would this be the first thing you'd think? Like, you know what, I need one of these on my mantelpiece in the living room. Or, you know what, I have this tiny bathroom downstairs, this little closet bathroom. This would look great on the windowsill. Would you just think to yourself, yeah, these things, look at these. Oh, this needs to be in my house. I want to use one of these to decorate my shelves in my bedroom. I don't, I don't think that's the first thing that would come to my mind personally when looking at these. But in the 60s and the 70s, they were everywhere. This was the thing to have, you know. And if you had one of these in your home, but and people saw it, they'd be like, wow, this person has some taste. This person knows what's going down. You know, this was it. This is what you needed. You needed a freaky looking glass clown on your shelf, and people will be like, yeah, this guy knows what's going on. And yeah, these are, as Winds of Change says here, Murano glass clowns. They're made in Italy, right? And they were made by a particular gentleman. So let me just have a quick look here. I've got a quick history. So the Happy Clown part of the Murano Glass Clowns collection was handmade by Fratelli Patau, a family-owned glass manufacturing company located in Murano, Italy. The history of the manufacturing unit dates back to 1964, when the Patau brothers established the manufacturing unit, or as the Italian call it, Vetreria. The signature products of the Fratelli Patau Vetreria are the Murano glass clowns. The art of making a Murano glass clowns is passed down through generations within the Patau family. Currently, the company is owned by Maria and her brother, who are the children of the founding father of Fratelli Patau Vetreria. Maria and her brother are very proud of the Murano glass clowns and allowed us to film the making of the handmade clowns. So there is a video that you can go and watch online from the MuranoGlassItaly.com. So they still make these things today. It's a family business, and I don't think there's anything funny about them. in terms of like I haven't looked into it deeply. I've tried at a cursory level, but I can't find out much information on these Patel brothers. Um, but I do think they just made these things for fun. I don't think they had any particular agenda behind making these things. What we got to consider here, then, if that's the case, is the spirit behind making these things and the spirit behind those who choose to put them in their home. Now, whether or not people know that a clown is a representation, a modern caricatured representation of the features of the Nephilim of the past. Whether they know that or not doesn't change the impact of having an image of something within your home. Okay, so in like voodoo practices or folk traditional practices around the world of ancestor worship, to dress like something or to have an image of something is to evoke that thing from the spirit realm. Okay, so people have ignorantly been putting clowns into their home, not knowing that they're bringing the image of the beast into their home, which summons it basically, opens a gateway, brings a portal into it. And the highly popular nature of these things during this time zone is just such a bizarre idea. They were sold as like something precious, something unique, something handmade, with such skill and technique that they were of high value, and they sell today for thousands of pounds. These, especially because obviously the rare older ones from the original creator. Um, I mean, look at this collector here who's got like just hundreds of them staring at. Can you imagine having all these in your home? Why do some of them have such angry eyebrows? What clown have you ever known who has an angry eyebrow thing going on in real life? I don't know. I don't know. And there's just something oddly symbolic about these things in the way they're shaped. They're very ethereal, very liquid looking, obviously because they're made from glass, obviously. That's the obvious thing. But there's just something wobbly and loose and very DMT-ish about these representations. They don't look like humans dressed like a clown. They look like oddly shaped, long-bodied snake things with a bow tie or something. They look very bizarre. So I remember as a kid, my parents. I'm a very young child here, under the age of 10. My parents would go visit a family, these friends of the family. They were actually friends with my grandparents, so they were of an older generation. And so I was visiting their home at the age of 10, and they were about 50 or 60 years old themselves by this point. And this is in the 90s, early 2090s. And I remember using the bathroom, um, and these things, the woman who lived there had these things everywhere, just all over the place. And they're not actually that small. They're quite large. They're quite impressively large. And me trying to urinate, having this thing staring back at me from the windowsill down the back of the toilet. It was extremely off-putting. And it just always stuck with me as a memory, that these glass clowns. And people have been sending me messages. I think Vibes has mentioned it here. Send me a message as well. That he also had them around in the family. They were just around. Um, and I don't know. It's just look at this one for example. Look how demented this thing looks. This thing looks like the Huggy Wuggy from Poppy Playtime. The big, wide grinned, bug eyed teddy bear that's like a giant that chases you in the video game and tries to rip you to shreds. They have that look about them, this alien, large, snake-eyed, dead-eyed thing with this impossibly wide grin. This wide, disgusting grin. Um, and like I said, they have this ethereal, otherworldly nature about them. They glow, they reflect light, and they've got this long, thin, multicolored, shining body and this pattern to it. And there's just something very spiritual about it in terms of representing the demonic nature of the Nephilim. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the catch up. I'm sorry, I've done a series on this. No, the Nephilim look like clowns. If you're here with me now, and you've been following along, this is just a bizarre phenomena. What was the appeal? Because I was having this in one of my recent episodes. I think it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's called "What Were They Thinking?" And it's I have all these. I wish I had the images right now. Like I said, I've lost them all. But I had this compiled images of all these vintage clowns from the past. The really old clowns and like black and white footage of clowns. And they claim these things were for children, but God, they are terrifying. They are absolutely mortifying looking monsters. And it's kind of like, who on earth, what were these people thinking that this was fun and cute and for children? And all the images showed literally children screaming with absolute terror in their eyes to get away from this thing that was holding them and grinning in their face with this wide, impossible, terrifying snake-like grin. And it's like, of what mindset were the people living in this era to not see that they were traumatizing their children with visages of absolutely horrifying monsters? Like, why were they so blind to it? Were they just complete and totally traumatized themselves to the point where they just couldn't see the horror in things anymore? Were they just stupid? I don't know. And I'm getting a similar thing from this. Like, what was the appeal? Who looked at this thing on the screen right now and thought, well, that's just so adorable. I must have that in my house. Honestly, what? Like, it's baffling to me. I am lost for understanding and words right now to understand uh, how this was a thing. Like, I don't get it. What was the worldwide appeal? Why did people love this so much? There must be some spiritual element to it, because in terms of taste, this is a terrible taste to have. This is not good in good taste. Like, I have a degree in art. I'm a fine artist myself. I have a bachelor's. I think I have an eye for aesthetics. I think I have a good eye for composition and what is and isn't beautiful and traditional and what would be worthy of being glorified as something as a pinnacle in some way. I got some idea. I'm not completely ignorant. And this is just kitsch nonsense. It's disgusting. But the appeal was there for some reason. I am baffled. Again, there's nothing. I can't give any. This is a bit of fun. This one, okay. Don't take me too seriously with this one because there's nothing, no evidence anything nefarious was happening with the intent to create these things. But it's just a sign that this appeal people have, that they're drawn to the image of the clown. And I think what we see here from like this popularity in the 70s and the 80s and the 60s is not dissimilar from, we have something similar today going on. I think right now there's just been the 2023 gathering of the Juggalos, and someone left an article um where he's talking about there's a new generation of Juggalos that have joined from Gen Z, and they brought with it their own styles and attitudes, and all the old school juggalos don't like them. And this guy is arguing like, I welcome them because we need new blood to keep the culture going. And the way they're talking about it, it's kind of like, really, why? What is your obsession with dressing like a clown and listening to the music of maniacs who talk about slaughtering people? What's the appeal? You call that a culture? That's not a culture. That's a cult. That's a death cult you've got yourself into. And are you that desperate to be a part of something? To feel like you have a group that you feel welcome in, that you're willing to dress like a demon and glorify the words of somebody who sings about slicing people up with cleavers. Why? And it's this morbid appeal some people in the world are just naturally drawn to the image of the clown, and they will put it in their homes or they will put it on their own skin for some reason. If you look at TikTok, for example, it's just full of people dressing like clowns. They call it the clown core aesthetic. They think they're being clever using that word. And that, like, it doesn't mean basically dressing up like a demon, like, which is what it is. And they think they're being new and clever with it when it's what ancient folk traditional cultures have been doing since the time immemorial. They haven't stopped doing it. We're just doing it today, thinking it's a funny, funky fashion trend, but the practice is the same. It's the same thing, just with a different name. I don't know. I don't know. Vibes here says my gran had one. Yeah, yeah. Gareth says he's from Yorkshire too. Well, that's wonderful. I'm from Lancashire, so we are naturally sworn enemies. We can no longer talk to each other, Gareth, I'm afraid. Um, I made it just in time, says Baby. Yeah, good to be here. Most people don't want the truth. They are comfortable with living with their illusion. That's right. Ooh, says Amy. That's right. Look at these. They're hideous, aren't they? I'm in a group and they were auctioning clowns. Yeah, I found a lot of these images off a Facebook group where they sell them. And people love them or are still obsessed with them. Honestly, it's very strange. Danette Bailey says, "Love your chats and sharing." That's great, Danette. Thank you. I appreciate all the support you're giving me. I really do. Thank you so much. Amber Hanson, Conspiracies R Us has a collection of videos. Nephilim look like clowns. Pretty. I don't know if you've said that to. I don't know. Amber, I'm going to assume ignorance on this one. Um, Conspiracy Auras got his idea from me to make that series when I was on hiatus for 5 years. I'm thankful to him for keeping the concept alive. I truly am. Without him, this may have just died out, and people wouldn't have learned the truth about this. So he played a very important role in getting the truth out. But it was my video series he made his from. His videos are shortened versions condensing the information I shared in a 17 episode series about 5 years ago. I'm back on YouTube now making more. He started to make his own videos going off on a tangent about Bob and the connections there. And he stopped making them now. And I still make my videos on the Nephilim looking like clowns in a series you can find in a playlist on my channel if you're interested. But since then, I have made maybe another 20 videos to the series, and I think they've got a lot deeper as well as I've gone on. But yes, I'm very well aware of Conspiracy Auras' Nephilim Look Like Clowns series, yeah. I'd use them for target practice, yeah. That's the only good thing to use them for, I think. I mean, I'm not all for destroying art, you know. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a burn books type of person, but these things, I mean, I don't know. I don't see any use for them. I don't think they're as good as you think. Anyone remember Mr. Bill? Reminds me of that. My biggest fears are snakes and clowns. Well, they are linked inexplicably through my own research, Christopher. So you have every reason to be scared of both. What the fuck is this even about? Says Amber. This is a bit of fun, Amber, for the Truth Therapy sessions. This is about nothing in particular. We're just having a community conversation right now, and this topic of the Murano clowns is just a bit of fun, so I can go off on some random tangent rants. That's all it is. Don't take much more from this talk than that. We like to have fun in these live shows. If you want more serious, focused information on the Nephilim looking like clowns, go to my playlist called The Nephilim Look Like Clowns. Wouldn't give a penny, that's right. Scripture says we should demonstrate what people are seeking. Yeah, that's a good way of phrasing it. Can you guys fell vampiric energies lines that come out from people in general trying to hook up on your legs, hips? On the daily activities, how important is it to stay aware of the space around you? And Andre, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Errant Bard, you were accidentally timed out. Apology, says Vibes. That's okay. Those things certainly aren't cute. I don't think so either. I had a set of vintage 1940s themed redware clown teapot, blackface teapot, and sold the set, says Winds of Change. Well, at least you made some money off it. Why is this even happening? He's talking about clowns in the bathroom and you're making pointless comments about without really conversing. What the fuck? This is a bizarre phenomena. Okay, Amber, you need some context. I understand. I understand. The community that's here right now has built over years of me making research about the Nephilim looking like clowns. I have made concise information about that. I am writing a book about that topic. But I do a weekly show every Sunday night where we just get together and talk about anything and everything just so we can get off our chest ideas and things we've been thinking about or perhaps worrying about because it's hard to find people in our normal day-to-day lives who want to talk about these type of things. Everybody in the truth of culture needs some kind of therapy, some kind of way to talk and communicate about their thoughts and feelings so they don't lose their minds, because this stuff is scary. So I created this thing called the Truth of Therapy Sessions. I give a presentation about some things I've been thinking about, some random train of thoughts about things that I've been thinking about and worrying about, and ideas and concepts that I've rough drafted for my book or for future videos. This being one of them that you're listening to me talk about right now with the Murano Clowns. I've also talked about Spider Man and the character of Venom. There's the context for what you're listening to. That's what's happening right now. This isn't just all by accident or random or because we're all crazy. That's what's going on. And a lot of the people you see talking here have been here for years. You've just joined it. If you have something that you've been researching recently that you want to talk about it. Say it in the comments. Someone who's had a trip to another dimension made them. Possibly, yeah. Is that a dead fly in its nose? Who knows? Uh, a lot of fantastic glass artistry wasted on rather repulsive looking glass clowns. Yeah, yeah. They hate lead paint chips or asbestos. Yeah. Got to go, says Texas Mama Bear. Thanks for being here. So many people have a large collection of ceramic and glass clowns. Yeah. Just trying to find people to love them. Not sure what that means. Some of us are drawn to bad things or bad groups because we don't think highly of ourselves. There is that. Yeah, I know. Like I said, I understand the need for a sense of belonging. I do. I do. I get that. We all have that need. It's just that to then find that within the glorification of violence and demons is a shame. Is all I think, and people are oddly attracted to it. Octagon, I'm feeling better, thank you. There you go. It works. UP, you so nice. Um, does anyone even own any of those antique clowns? Anyone an eBay seller? Yeah, people sell them everywhere. There's Facebook groups. There's honestly people are obsessed with these things. Perhaps it's nostalgia. It's based in nostalgia now. It's people of an older generation trying to buy them. But the older things get, they become vintage, don't they? They become antiques, and then they become a highly priced commodity. Because some people out there will literally buy any old shit as long as it's old, and people make TV shows out of it. It's one of those. Andre Barros. Enough talk about it. Next subject, the clown moon. Exact same size of the sun. Why? Because both are light projections on the ceiling of this realm coming from a center. See, Andre, why the hell are you talking about the flat earth right now? Telling me I need to move on and discuss that topic. Like, you don't dictate this stuff, and that kind of attitude and acting like that doesn't convince anybody of anything. I'm sorry. And I will talk about whatever I want on my live show, and I don't need that. I don't need that. Um, I actually want one. Well, Trent, like I said, you can go find them on anywhere, eBay or Facebook groups mainly. I think they were very popular in England. I don't know about America, but perhaps. Um, I own some but sold them. Yes, me. There we go. I've got one if anyone wants to purchase it. It's hideous. Maybe the appeal is in that they're so hideous. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm missing a trick here. Maybe I just don't understand what people. I don't know. Who knows? All right, guys. Anyway, I do have another part I want to discuss in this. I would like to talk about my book a bit more, so you guys know where I'm up to with that, and I'll give a little reading for you guys as well. So if I could just share my screen. There we go. Open this. That's the thing I read. If anyone's interested, just about where the Murano glass clowns are made and who buy. But yeah, nothing crazy about that. That's the comment section I was mentioning earlier about the guy who went absolutely crazy at me for no reason. But we'll close that. I don't need that. And here's the book. All right, guys. So I'm going to zoom out. No, I'm not going to zoom out. Never mind. Doesn't work. So as you can see on the left-hand side here, I've got obviously it's all laid out where I'm up to with the book currently. which is the book on the Nephilim looking like clowns. So, as I mentioned, section 1 here, establishing the foundation, is 70 pages worth, I think, maybe 80 pages worth. Let's just find out. So, if I scroll down to chapter 10, which ends here. Okay, so let's do a word count. Okay, so 60 section 1 is 69 pages and just shy of 40,000 words, which is basically me attempting to give a historical summary of the origins of the Nephilim giants. So that's what section 1 is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chapters, ending with a discussion about demons today, which are the disembodied spirits of the now dead Nephilim. And that's done. That took me 40,000 words and 10 chapters to summarize. It's people have written 500-page books about this, and I've tried to condense it down into 69 pages, it seems, into 40,000 words. It's taken me a couple of months, but that's where I'm up to with the book. I've done that. First draft done. There's probably obviously some extra stuff which I'll need ironing out, some things removing, some things added. But in terms of first draft stuff, I have done it. Okay. So now I'm on officially section 2. What did they look like? And this is a brief section, section 2. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters, okay? So chapter 11, the first of the 4 chapters, is biblical descriptions of angels. And this might be what I'll read this to you today. I've just finished it. What is it, 3 or 4 pages? So it's not too long. I don't think they have to be too long, these ones, to be honest, because the next chapter is called Biblical Descriptions of the Nephilim. So once I've canonically and extra biblically explained what the angels and the Nephilim looked like from within biblical texts and canon, chapter 13 is going to discuss cultural descriptions of the gods. Because outside of biblical canon, the Nephilim and their angelic parents were called something else. They were called many things by many cultures all over the earth, and they were known as the gods and kings and rulers. They weren't known as angels and Nephilim, they were known as the gods, small g, plural, and the ancient kings and rulers, which were the Nephilim. Okay, so I'm going to go through, once I've done the biblical descriptions that are in biblical texts and extra biblical texts and apocryphal texts, I'm going to go to the wider world, go outside of the biblical canon, and discuss what the gods were described to have looked like too. And you'll find they were all pretty much just dragons and serpents and feathered serpents and things like that. And then chapter 14 of section 2 is descriptions of modern encounters. And that's where I'm going to give the descriptions of giants that people have had skirmishes with recently. So when I say recently, I mean it's still in the recent memory of like the Paiute tribes of Americas who had to smoke these giants out of a cave because they were cannibalizing and terrorizing their village. They had pale white skin and red hair. Or there's the giant of Kandahar incident, which wasn't that long ago, based in Iraq. Is it Kandahar? No, Afghanistan, in Kandahar, yeah, where a unit of soldiers claims to have fought against a giant white-skinned red-haired individual. Things like that. I'm going to try and find more encounters. A lot of tribes had encounters with these things as well, all over the place. Even the Inuits had their own encounters with giants. So once that's what section 2 is going to be. It's going to be discussing what they look like from biblical descriptions and descriptions outside of biblical canon. And then we can go on to section 3, which is going to be all about the clown, the origin of the clown historically, the clown within secret societies and the venerations of the clown in modern secret societies and by culture at large, the clown as Nephilim, serpents, and bird hybrids. So we'll go into a massive description there about what the clowns actually looked like and why they are linked to the Nephilim and where the symbology links metaphorically. That's where I'll list probably everything like The clown's feet wearing giant shoes represents that giants had large feet. All those descriptors, like the ruffle around the neck representing a reptilian lizard frill, the makeup and the clothes representing the patterns of a serpent's skin and a bird's feathers. All that stuff will get mentioned in chapter 17. Chapter 18 will be about the circus and how that fits into the whole narrative of being the place in which the Nephilim dwell, the fractaled matrix, the DMT realm. Maybe I'll swap out chapter 19 for DMT jesters. And then we'll talk about the Hatman and the Ringmaster. And obviously, we'll talk about Freemasonry there and how the Grand Master is the Ringmaster or the Hatman, which is also a reference to Solomon being the master of the ring over all the demons and the Testament of Solomon. Loads of connections to make there. And then we'll talk about sacred clowning um, in a quick, brief chapter there as well, and about how the acting like a clown is also a part of this whole thing as well, not necessarily how they looked. And then section 4 is going to be a big one. I'm going to go through every single continent and I'm going to break down every single tribe within each continent who venerates the Nephilim through what they call ancestor worship. And I'll break down all the outfits they wear to represent their Nephilim ancestor spirit demon gods, and how a lot of the modern clown features we have were inspired by these cultures, and how the cultures who do represent the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, the things they call ancestor spirits, use clown like features to depict them and evoke them, venerate them, and be possessed by them. So chapter 4 is going to be section 4 is going to be a big one. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chapters going through each continent and going through each culture within it and their own folk traditions. I've already done some preliminary ones here, just quickly noting some things down I noticed along the way. So European folk traditions, I'm going to talk about the Creato tradition, which I made a video about recently, which is a prehistoric Celtic tradition. But I'll also have to talk about mummery and the Bulgarian traditions of kukri as well, the wild man traditions. Then there's things like maypole, Mayday, all sorts of things that evoke clown symbolism and ideas in Europe. It's not They've got the Venetian festival in Italy, the Carnival all around as well. Europe is full of it, absolutely full of it, honestly. Africa is also full of ancestor worship. There's going to be an endless list there. India is also full of it as well. Asia is big on it, especially dragon worship and symbolism. Australia and Oceania, they have a lot going on. A lot. The Wanginas are a very good example off the top of my head, which are exactly they look just like clowns. I think I even have an image randomly here, quickly on my desktop. Oh, I don't have it anymore. I must have got rid of it. But I did have a Wangina image there for a second or two, unless it's up here somewhere. No, I've lost it. Never mind. But yeah, a lot to go down. And then section 5 will be the modern day pop culture manifestations of the clown. Clown murderers and perverts, the 2016 clown sightings, the fear of clowns, chorophobia, the multicolored collective, which will be going on about the SJW movement and the wild features they wear, which will include a lot of other things as well. Film and TV references, music industry references. The music industry is huge and rife with it. At the Speed of Shadows, Ernie, someone who follows me and is one of my patrons, said something I thought was quite poignant. He was sharing with me how he had this music video which he'd been watching on repeat for years because he really liked the song, and it took him a while to realize that there's a clown in the middle of it and a woman dancing like a clown at the end of it for no real reason. um, and he said he believes the music industry is kind of employed to keep the clown symbolism alive in the culture. And there's always clown references and dressing like the demonic clowns in music industry all the time to maintain a constant connection, I think, in the Western world, in the European world, and with this clown imagery. And the music industry plays a large role in maintaining that the next generation continues that imagery as well. Basically just to always evoke the spirit of the Nephilim within our culture all the time. Interesting thought. And section 6 will just be a conclusions. I'll probably talk about when in doubt, call on Jesus, and I'll be all about what we can do to defend, protect ourselves, about putting on the full armor of God, and then a conclusion at the end, just summarizing everything I've discussed. But the book's well on its way. Like I said, we're on section 2. We're talking about aesthetics and the way things look, and I'm going to read that to you now, guys. So yeah, I'll keep it on the screen as I'm reading it, so you can read along. Again, this is first draft stuff, okay? Stuff will be added, stuff will be removed. Phraseologies will be changed, punctuation will be moved around on my second pass, but I am of the mindset now where I'm just going to keep writing. All right, I'm not going to keep reviewing and going over and over and over again each section and chapter endlessly, which I have been doing because I feel like it's keeping me from just pushing forward and getting out the rough draft. So this is my rough draft of chapter 11, biblical descriptions of the angels. So I'm going to take 1 second to get some water. Right, there we go. Right, guys, so chapter 11, biblical descriptions of the angels. Section 1 established the history of the Nephilim, their creation, destruction, and subsequent demonic fate. Now we can begin to get onto the finer details of the features these creatures actually had before we begin to draw parallels to clowns of the modern era. The first step is to examine the angels from which these giant creatures inherited their ghastly visages. When one who is of a modern mindset thinks of angels, the usual white-robed, tall and handsome young man with bright white wings most likely comes to mind. Many classical Renaissance paintings, stained glass mosaics, and church frescoes have endlessly romanticized this stereotypical description. Modern mainstream media renditions haven't strayed much further either. Perhaps these interpretations symbolically make the most sense to us in terms of metaphor. After all, a bird is light, graceful, and flies in the sky. So to portray an angel from heaven with such features is only logical. As angels were understood by the early church to be beings of pure spirit, it has given creatives a lot of wiggle room when creating physical representations. So what we can glean from European and Middle Eastern artworks varies greatly. Daniel 8:15 describes the angel Gabriel as appearing in the likeness of man, and in Daniel 9:21 he's referred to as the man Gabriel. Such human descriptions of an angel are consistent with previous descriptions of angels in Genesis 19:5, when the people of Sodom accosted Lot and the 2 angels who were with him, proclaiming, "Where are the men which came into thee this night? Bring them unto us, that we may know them." From these descriptions alone, we can deduce that these beings were very attractive, to the point that everyone who saw them wanted to rape them in Sodom, and that they also had no discernible features, such as wings or a halo of light. John Chrysostom, a 3rd century early church father and Archbishop of Constantinople, explained the significance of angels' wings as merely symbolic, if symbolic of their divinity. Quote, "They manifest nature's sublimity. That is why Gabriel is represented with wings. Not that angels have wings, but that you may know that they may leave the heights and the most elevated dwelling to approach human nature. Accordingly, the wings attributed to these powers have no other meaning than to indicate the sublimity of their nature." So the lesser angels who regularly interact with humans at the lower levels don't have wings. Yet we know that the higher angels, who are right next to God, the throne of God, do. It would be pertinent to remember that the angelic hosts of heaven have a specific hierarchy in place, to differentiate the roles each class of angels plays within the creation. We know that the highest class of angels that surround the throne of God have bizarre descriptions when compared to the lower angels. These elites are described in the prophet Ezekiel's vision of the heavenly chariot wheels and the cherubim who rode them in the 1st and 10th chapters of the book of Ezekiel. Quote, "And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and the feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the colour of burnished brass. Their appearance was like burning coals of fire, and like appearances of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And as of their appearance, they had 1 likeness, as if the wheels had been in the midst of a wheel. And when they went up upon their 4 sides. They turned not as they went, but to the place whither the head looked, and they followed it. They turned not as they went. And their whole body, and their backs, and their hands, and their wings, and the heels were full of eyes round about, even the wheels that they had 4 had. As for the wheels, it was cried unto them in my hearing, O wheel, and every one had 4 faces. And the first face was the face of a cherub, and the second face was the face of a man, and the third the face of a lion, and the fourth the face of an eagle." End quote. These are the descriptions that give rise to the fearsome CGI images of the biblically accurate angels we find regularly on social media while aimlessly scrolling through TikTok and YouTube shorts. A mass of wings coated in beaming eyeballs, huge wheels within wheels, also ordained with unblinking optical lenses, multiple animal heads and bodily features melded together in a chimeric nightmare beyond human comprehension. These are some of the highest beings known within the hierarchy that hold up the whole creation and do not leave the flanks of God's throne. These are so incredibly far removed from anything we can imagine, and are referred to as cherubim, thrones, wheels, chariots, or, as we read in Ezekiel, living creatures. However, there is another high class of angelic being who dwelt next to God, called the seraphim. These are the same beings that descended to earth to create the Nephilim. Isaiah 6, 1 through 8 gives a brief description of these beings as flying around the throne of God, keeping themselves covered with 4 wings, while flying with their remaining set of wings. They sing continuously around God, showing adulation and glory towards him. Though we are told they have 6 wings, very little else is given from these descriptions, meaning we have to look deeper to find out just what these entities look like when they weren't using their wings to shield themselves from God's brilliance. In Hebrew, the word seraph means burning, and is used twice in the book of Numbers, once in the book of Deuteronomy, and 4 times in the book of Isaiah, usually used in its singular form as a noun to denote serpent. The word for burning was also used to denote a serpent, though there is no consensus as to why. It may be due to a snake's fiery colours, or perhaps the burning sensation left by its venomous bite. Either way, in its plural form, seraphim occurs in both Numbers and Isaiah. Isaiah later uses the singular seraph to describe a fiery flying serpent. This burning, venomous, flying serpent described in Isaiah may be why we get the symbol of a fire-breathing dragon in European myths. We can deduce that the angels who had sex with human women were the serpentine seraphim angels by examining 2nd Enoch, chapter 18. Here we are told that the watchers who descended to the earth came from the throne of God, along with Satan himself. Quote, these are the Grigori, who turned aside from the Lord, 200 myriads, together with their prince Satanael. And 3 of them descended to the earth from the Lord's throne into the place of Hermon, which is Mount Hermon. And they broke the promise on the shoulder of Mount Hermon. And they saw the daughters of men, how beautiful they were, and they took wives for themselves, and the earth was defiled by their deeds. The cherubim and thrones play a crucial role in supporting the structure of creation, the firmament, and cannot move from their allotted place. We can therefore deduce that those who left God's throne in rebellion were the Hebrew described, serpentine-featured seraphim angels. These are the very same who came to Mount Hermon and mixed themselves with human women described in 1st Enoch, creating the Nephilim. Watcher-class seraphim angels were originally sent to earth by God to intercede for mankind on behalf of God. As the seraphim were capable of getting close enough to God without burning up in his light. The seraphim's job was to care for humanity and teach them the righteous way. Yet, as we have already established in section 1, 200 of these watchers failed miserably in this task. We don't know whether or not all of them were seraphim, but we can safely assume from observing the established angelic hierarchy that the leaders of these heavenly legions were indeed serpent-like angels. The visions of Amram, a collection of 5 extremely fragmented copies found in the Qumran cave. In this testament, Amram gathers his sons, Moses and Aaron, to his deathbed and relates stories of his life, providing wisdom and commanding understanding. This document is named for a vision shared during this time. Amram presents his vision. He accounts 2 divine figures fighting over the fate of his judgment. Amram inquires about their claimed authority and challenges their rule in his life. They claim to have rulership over humanity, like a watcher of sorts. One goes by 2 names, Belial, the Prince of Darkness, and Melchiorre, King of Evil, who is empowered over all darkness. The other figure, dubbed Melchizedek, is the Prince of Light and King of Righteousness who rules over the light. This may be an alternative name for Michael. Whether they were being honest with Amram about their supposed authority or not, we have a fascinating description given of both of these Watcher-class entities. Quote, I saw watchers in my vision, a dream vision, and behold, 2 of them argued about me and said, and they were engaged in a great quarrel concerning me. I asked them, You, what are you? Thus about me. They answered and said to me, We have been made masters and rule over all the sons of men. And they said to me, Which of us do you choose? I raised my eyes and saw one of them. His looks were frightening, like those of a viper, and his garments were multicolored, and he had extremely dark blank. And afterwards I looked, and behold, by his appearance and his face was like that of an adder, and he was covered with blank, together and over his eyes. Fragment 2. This watcher, who is he said to me, this watcher, and his 3 names are Belial, Prince of Darkness, and Melchiorre. And I said, My Lord, what rule? And he said to me, And all his paths are darkness, and all his works are darkness, and he is in darkness, you see, and he rules over all darkness, and I rule over all light and all blank. End quote. The association of Belial and darkness is found in Belial's single attestation in the New Testament, 2 Corinthians 6:14 through 15. Quote, What partnership can righteousness have with wickedness? Can light associate with darkness? What harmony has Christ with Belial, or a believer with an unbeliever? End quote. In early Judaism and early Christianity, An archon was one of the designation used to refer to the evil spiritual ruler of human beings and the cosmos, known by a variety of aliases including Satan, Devil, Belial, and Mastamah. The Synoptic Gospels occasionally refer to Satan as the Archon, Eon, Daemonion, Prince of Demons. Matthew 9:34 to 12:24, Mark 3:22, and Luke 11:15. Because demons, like angels, were thought to be organized like an army or a political entity or hierarchy, Satan and Belial are names both referring to the same supernatural entity. Satan was a seraphim angel, and as we established in section 1, the leader of many more who chose to rebel against God's choice to make a mammalian creation ruler over the earth, brackets Adam. The vision of Amram is extremely telling for his visage, as he is said to have a frightening appearance like that of a viper, or even an adder, with brightly coloured clothing. This is our first true biblical description of the serpentine watch class angels, which we know were akin to Satan, the highest order of angelic beings who were closest to the most trusted of God, the seraphim. This descriptor of seraphim is also our first major clue as to why the Nephilim looked like clowns. If one observes a viper or an adder, we can see that they have a very flat head with a large, wide mouth, which looks like a very wide smile from the front. In a later translation by Florinto Garcia Martinez of the Visions of Amram, the descriptor of like an adder was replaced by the phrase, his face was smiling, for this very reason. Vipers have sharp, angular features, rough scales, and even horns in some variations of the species. Both the viper and adder can be very psychedelic in design. Adders are predominantly composed of a checkered black and white fractal pattern, though this is not a set rule, while vipers are often composed of varying bright colours from the spectrum, blended throughout the body. What we can gather from this preliminary study on how the watchers were described in biblical texts is that they were large, serpent-like beings with many wings. What we can easily deduce is that symbolically and almost literally, this description of a winged serpent is synonymous with what we would call a dragon today. Gary Wayne wrote about these connections between seraphim angels and the mythical dragons extensively, summarizing, quote, Draco is Latin for dragon, and derived from the Greek word draconia, which was originally described in antiquity to be a serpent-like creature with wings. Furthermore, Draco derived from the original Drakon and Draconta, which alternatively translates as to watch, in the spirit of the infamous seraphim watchers, the angels that bore wings. The angelic posterity, the Nephilim Anunnaki, were remembered in antiquity as watchers, rulers, and kings, and all appeared like serpents or dragons. We will further explore the importance of the dragon when discussing the Watchers in chapter 13. However, now we have established that the angelic parents of the Nephilim look like serpents and dragons from a wholly biblical perspective. Let's do the same for the offspring they created with humans. Then we can examine documented histories and cultures outside of the biblical canon, who have also had encounters with these fearsome monsters, for more proof of this serpentine description. And there we go. That's the end. That's as far as I got with that reading there. So yeah, that's chapter 11, quickly written. Again, there's probably more I could add there. I noticed a few syntactical errors as I went along, a few rhythmic errors with the way it reads, which reading out loud helps me to hear and realize. So I'll have to go through that and make a few changes there, I think, with the punctuation. But what do you guys think? Let me know. I'm just going to come back to the chat now. There it is. Let's get rid of this chaotic mess on the screen you guys can see, and let's bring up the webcam. There we are. Right, so I've got the chat to the side here. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to try and scroll it back up. Let's keep going far back. Let's see what we're up to. Well, it looks like you guys were listening rather than speaking. That's good, because not many comments out there. The Nephilim giant they killed in Afghanistan did not look like a clown. Maybe they do after death. Your thoughts? No, you're not understanding. The Nephilim didn't exactly all look like what we call a clown today. Okay, that's not what this is. That's not what's going on. You need to get this straight, okay? What we call a clown in the West and what you imagine when I say a clown was an image purposefully created in the West by Freemasons to represent symbolically, with exaggerated features, the giant Nephilim creatures of the past. Does that make sense? Okay. So the underlying basis of a clown is white skin, red hair. That's what the basic clown has. Okay? That's where you start. Most Nephilim had that feature. And then there's many other features laid on top of that, which I'm not going to go into again now, because I've done it ad nauseum in my series. But don't misunderstand the theory, okay? That's not what's going on there. After death, in spirit form, they look like jesters and even more psychedelic and probably more like a clown. Yes, that's true. I will agree with that. Um, what have we got? Got you. We're talking about the glass clowns. That giant was a Rephaim. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go into that. The Rephaim were Nephilim. The term Rephaim means the dead. Spiritually speaking, they are already dead, even when they were alive. It was correct to call them the Rephaim, because they were already doomed to remain on the earth. But there was also a clan of Nephilim called the Rephaim as well, so it gets confusing, biblically speaking. I did talk about it in chapter 1, though, section 1. The offspring of Nephilim. Yeah, the Nephilim themselves also had children, and the features got diluted as it went down. That's for sure. It's even possible a lot of the high-ranking officials in the world, a part of these secret societies, are the descendants of the original Nephilim, and they actually look very human now. But the bloodline goes all the way back. But as time goes on, those features disappear and get washed out through breeding. So there is that as well. Um, I always thought the clowns were so weird and sinister looking. I was raised by my grandparents, and I swear almost all their friends loved that whole motif. Yeah, it's that generation. There was something weird going on with those people. Um, Clowns never did sit right with me. Yeah, Lovelock Caverns. That's right. The Lovelock Caves where they got burnt out. The skeletons were found in there, weren't they? And they had red hair, and elongated skulls, and they looked trippy. The Kandahar Giants, Mr. Ball and the Exil did a cool video. I'll have to watch that. We're talking about Sasquatch. We're talking about Afghanistan. Is Larry here? I think I missed that. Um, Sorry, guys. It might be boring just listening to me trying to catch up with the chat here quickly. Um, Dogman encounters. Yeah, well, there was a lot of genetic mixing happening as well. I mean, there's the Lion Men of Moab. I think there was a lot of I think it's the Silocephaly, aren't they? Are the Dogmen? Um, there was a lot of genetic engineering going on just before the flood, and possibly after the flood as well. Um, and that was explained in depth in the Book of Jasher, actually, if you're interested. But mankind mixed their DNA with animals, so they kind of turned themselves into petty Nephilim, little Nephilim, you know. Um, but they weren't the real deal. They were nothing compared to the originals. Um, some people are more equal than others. I love the British accent. Just the first Book of Enoch, bro. Yeah, I'll admit the second Enoch is not quite. I put most of my weight into first Enoch. I agree. But second Enoch does gleam some insights, like I said, into the aesthetics of these things, which we can't simply just brush aside. But be careful with taking your theology from too much of it. But a lot of it does corroborate with first Enoch, that's for sure. Um, but having sound theology before you read it should help you determine what to take and what to leave, of course. The British royals were definitely sheltered and pampered. Prince Harry turned his back on the military brothers, it seems. Yeah, okay. Um, I missed the Glass Clown talk. Going to go back and watch. Are they still sold in shops in Italy? They look so mean. Yeah, they are still sold. Yeah, they still make them. As I mentioned, there's a brother and sister duo still continue the family business. I've often wondered about the werewolf sightings. Okay, I'm going off on tangents here. Um, it'll be hard to appreciate anything pop culture eventually. It's all crammed full of their symbolism. Yeah, that's right, Eddie. Black and white checkered pattern in a Weezer video I just saw. The music industry is rife with it. Honestly, they are absolutely rife with it. Yeah, absolutely. Um, like you said, I think it's purposefully there to keep prop up the clown symbolism in the mind of the popular culture. The music industry plays a huge role in that. I tend to agree with you. Desert Trance, love that. Oh, good. Is that about the reading? Funny how dragon worship is worldwide. Sounds like the stuff in Castle Wolfenstein games. Yeah, I played all the recent Wolfenstein games actually. They were available on Xbox. I played through them all maybe like a few years ago. Yeah, that's full of it. All the occult stuff in there. What else we got? I just think the Baphomet statue is there now, Christopher. I wanted to visit there from England. I went to Georgia Guidestones and saw the artwork in the Bank of America. Um, Sounding good, Sydney. That's good. Good content. Please keep going. The Leviathan is a dragon still hiding in the sea. Maybe, yeah. I mean, there's talk in, I think it was the Book of Giants, where the Leviathan ate up all the Nephilim that were in the flood, making sure they were wiped out. The original Nephilim, I think. That's quite an interesting thought. How Leviathan is actually on God's side as well. Um, or maybe it was originally, maybe it was a part of the rebellion as well. But I think Leviathan was created as a testament to how great God is with his creation originally. And I think it may have got corrupted or something along the way, or maybe our misinterpretation of the situation, maybe it never was corrupt. Um, I'll have to look more into that. Um, a lot of people have said Leviathan is Satan. It's just another word for Satan as well, which again could work as well if you don't want to consider it a literal sea creature. It could be allegorical, but who knows? Um, what a great angle and breakdown of angels. Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I reckon those Nazis well into the dark arts. Yep. Right. I think I've almost caught up with the chats. Jack and the Beanstalk, the Jolly Green Giant. Yeah, yeah, it's all connected. ginger or red hair is found in mummies. Well, yeah, a lot of them were believed they had the divine right to rule because they were a part of the serpent bloodline. I do think fiery red hair, and it's not ginger. It's not like my beard. This shade of browny orange. That's not the color hair they had. They had red hair like this. It's not the same. It was unnaturally not human. It glowed. They were called the glowing ones. They shone like fire. It's like they had fire for hair. Um it was insane. It wasn't normal or natural by any stretch of the imagination. You know what I mean? It was something else. And when I say they had white skin, I don't mean they were pale and pasty like me with a bit of pink, and Caucasian white. It was porcelain white. It was shining white. It was shimmering pearlescent white, like as white as you could imagine. Burn your eyes white. These things were insane. They had huge, like serpentine oval shaped eyes, that went all the way up and back here and back down, and they were blue, and they were shined with light and crystal, like typical grey alien eyes, but not black, glowing colours. These things were a psychedelic visage, and the smiles went all the way back here, like a serpent's mouth. They could open it like as wide as you could imagine, with these sharp fangs and tusks and jagged teeth. They were vicious monsters. And all these features we've kind of just put into this cutie image of a clown in the West. So we venerate its image without realizing it. It's by design. It was done on purpose. The costume of a clown was adapted into theatre through Freemasons who created the image. Um, uh, these things were insane looking. They struck fear into the hearts of those who saw them. And simply seeing a really tall human would be pretty scary. But to make you almost have a heart attack at its image, like you have to really think outside of the box. Think of a human mixed with a snake. Imagine what that would look like. Like it would be insane. Really mental. Like it would look weird because they'd have to have mammalian features like me with like this skin and eyes and ears and a nose and a mouth, which snakes don't have. It'd have all these weird appendages like fingers and things which snakes don't have. It had 6 fingers and 6 toes, but it also has scaly serpentine skin, wide jaws that opened wide, and bulging eyes like a snake, mixed with all these weird monkey features as well. It had hair. I mean, snakes don't have hair. You know what I mean? They might have had feathers for all we know, because like the whole feathered serpent thing from Quetzalcoatl. These things were insane looking monsters, like absolutely mental. Like, and people's basic bitch drawings of giants from the Bible that you see, which are just big, buff, ripped men with like a long loincloth on, holding a club or something, do not do it justice. With brown hair and just normal looking humans, but just big. Like that's not what was going on. These things were mental, like absolutely just. You saw one coming, you would probably just die from witnessing it because you'd be stopped with such fear. Like, and they were fast and they had supernatural abilities. They had auras about them that would like just get into your mind and melt it. They were divine. They were a part angel. They weren't just big things. Like they had these supernatural abilities with them as well. They literally they shined. They shimmered. They had like a glow around them, probably. And they could probably maybe even heat. Maybe they were on fire in some respects. Maybe things were just beyond comprehension, and people just do not understand. Like I said, and a clown again is not exactly it. It's like a child's doodle of one. You know what I mean? It's been purposely made to be childlike and innocent, but it's all its features are harkening back to these original features these monsters actually had. And these people in these secret societies who create them, create these images, are in communion with these demons. They work with them. They summon them. They let them possess their body. They communicate with them. They have the same agenda. They're all working together. They know what they look like, and that's why they created the clown and made it so popular in Western culture. So the image of the beast can be everywhere. And people wouldn't know. They haven't got a clue. It's for the kids. That's how stupid we are, and that's why they laugh at us. That's why they think we're worthy of this, because we don't see what's right in front of our faces. We're idiots, and they don't care. We're never going to clock onto it. That's how they think about us. And they make it for the kids. It's just disgusting. They go and visit children in hospital dressed like these monsters, to give them a bit of joy before their final moments. Going to terminally ill children in hospital and traumatizing them in their last days and moments with the visage of demons. Think about that. These lovely Shriners out there doing wonderful things for the community, as they like to say, with their shrine clowns. Not buying it. No. It's dark. Everything they do has a reason and a purpose. And if they're dressing like clowns religiously, making it a part of every single shrine, there's a reason. And well, I've just told you the reason. There you go. Uh, can confirm 2 points. They move very fast, and they are terrifying. Yeah, I'd like to see how you can confirm that. But yeah, that's true. That's how they're described anyway. In other cultures, Indian culture specifically, there's a lot of them around in Indian history. Vedic history, just made me think of the algae that glows when disturbed, the bioluminescence. Yeah, I wonder if there are Nephi amalgamations. Well, there are. I do think you heard the description, or if you read what I just read, the living creatures, angels. It's possible some of the living creatures rebelled against God. These are the ones that were close to God's throne, but they're like an amalgamation of many animals. I do think a lot of these high-end angels, maybe the seraphim, weren't simply all just serpent-like in nature. Maybe they were fish-like as well, had scales rather. No, snakes have scales, but so do fish. You know, and I think there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of fish god worship going on in the past as well around the same time, and after the flood as well. I think the 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 fish-like abominations, the half human, half eel, half human, half fish, half shark, half octopus, half whatever, the fishmen, the mermaids, the sirens, they probably survived the flood because it's water. It makes sense, doesn't it? And there are stories of cultures venerating fish gods after a flood because they came from the waters and started teaching mankind stuff and mixing with them, which will explain how the Nephilim came to be after the flood as well, perhaps, if you want to go that far. But yeah, I think birds, fish, and reptiles are the key features the Nephilim had amalgamated into their image, which I'll obviously go into the book in great detail. But yeah, that's true. And the bioluminescence is a good example of how these things were glowing. Absolutely, glow in the dark Nephilim. Imagine that. Um, they lie and lie and lie some more. Shriners had child trackers years ago. Yeah, they're still doing it. Yeah, I remember someone sent me a link to that. They're trying to put these chips into children, weren't they? Yeah, and someone sent me an internet link. It might have been you in Telegram. I don't know. You all have different names here. Humble stranger. He's in the Telegram. I speak to him regularly. All about the loosh. I have seen them, brother. If you want to give me a personal testimony description of what you saw, I'm all ears. Okay, go to understandingconspiracy at gmail.com and tell me your story. I'd love to hear it. Or join the Telegram group, even. Links are down below. Have a look. Yeah, the Shining Ones reminds you of the Hebrew word Nakash, defined as both Shining One and Serpent. That's right. Mongoose, can you describe what you saw? Yes, Humble Stranger wants to hear as well. Join the Telegram. Come tell us all. Fascinating. That makes perfect sense. The Nephilim survived in caves. The floods killed everything on the surface of the earth, but never said anything inside of it. Yeah, underground. Things could have survived. That's right. There are numerous flood accounts all around the world of other things surviving the flood that weren't Noah in numerous different ways. Or some involving a boat, a rudimentary raft, a vessel of some kind, or simply climbing really high. But things did survive the flood other than Noah. And if all flesh was corrupted, those things that survived in those stories were not humans. Okay, they may have had names, but that doesn't mean they were human anymore. They could have easily have mixed their DNA by that point, which all humans seem to have done. Which might have helped them survive the flood because they had superpowers now by virtue of whatever they mixed with. They may have had abilities to hibernate, which we don't as humans, but the animals they mix their DNA with may have. So they could have slept out the flood underground in a tunnel or something they dug. Some of them may have been able to swim and breathe underwater or fly like a bird, things that can help you survive floods. People may have had. Certainly. Um, the adversary created his own beings and world. It is horrid. When the veil goes entirely, you will all see. Wish I could give you all a hug ahead of time. Yeah, well, we're all ready for the veil to be. Well, I feel like I'm ready for the veil to be ripped. Put on the full armor of God, guys. That's all I'll say. I'm XX chromosomes. I'm sorry, humble stranger. I didn't mean to misgender. Uh, um, yes, I will join Telegram. I've heard theories that Nephilim survived the Uralic Mountains. If you want to hear about Nephilim survival, read every flood myth all around the world, and you'll find numerous accounts. Numerous. There's nothing special about any particular one. Don't get bogged down on just one specific story. Every culture all around the world, every tribe within each continent, within each country, has their own flood myth about things surviving. Absolutely. Intuit Observer, thanks for being here. The Sound of Freedom is a psyop to bring in chipping. I haven't seen it, but I've heard there's a fuss about it, and I don't know what that's about. But yeah. Um, don't want to see them, just want guidance from God. Well, yeah. Let's hope we never have to, eh? No, well, hope we never have to see them. Always look forward to your streams. Vibrant colour, luminous skin, brilliant white. Yep. Cain is the worst killer. He was given a Mark II and had red hair. Yeah. Um, it's funny because Harley Quinn in the Harlequinades was based off of the the Wild Man of Europe, which went by many names, but Helikins was one of them. And people have said that actually translates to hairy Cain. So Harley Quinn is a derivative of hairy Cain because Cain was covered in hair. And the Wild Man of Europe is a symbolic representation of Cain, the first murderer, the leader of the demonic realm, the one who worked with the Nephilim, um, one of the firstborn of Adam type of thing. The hairy Cain is the Harley Quinn, and the Harley Quinn is the proto clown where we get the clown from. So it's all connected in some way. It all goes way back. It's very interesting to think about. Harry Kane, like the soccer player. Yeah, I don't know about that. But yeah, no. Let's not drag ourselves down into the football area. I'm not interested in football. Don't want to see them. Just want guidance from God. Yep. If it's allowed in Hollywood, it's a psyop. Absolutely. Do you think clowns exist in Asia? I don't know what that means. Yes, they have their own comedic characters within their own theatre. Absolutely. There is a difference between ginger, red, and auburn. Yes, there is. Um, we're talking about anime. Okay, guys. Right. Well, I think the chat's derailing now. I think we've been talking for long enough. I'm going for 2 hours. I'm gonna have to call it a night now, guys. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you enjoyed the random rant about glass clowns. I know some people were confused about that. Like I said, I'm actually going to be on holiday now for about 5 days. I'll be back next Sunday for another live show though. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, I'll be bringing some better quality content soon. Now I've got the new laptop. If you want to help me recuperate some of the losses I had to make trying to replace this laptop, please consider supporting me on Patreon. You'll get an extra video every week, every Friday, if you support me for $5 or more. It really would go a long way in helping me continue to do what I do and obviously feed my family and support my family. I appreciate all my patrons who do support me. Honestly, it's wonderful. So consider that, guys. Also, you can help support the book by going to the GoFundMe link down below as well. Any donation will get you a special thank you in the book. You will be mentioned, unless, of course, you want to be anonymous. You can just say that. Any orders, and so, well, there is a pre order system of any donations over £100, which is about $125. Um, will get you a free signed copy of the book when it's published. And as you can see, I am working through it. It might be a year yet before it's published. Could be a bit longer if there's any complications, but the book is almost there. I'm a good third of the way through it. So yeah, so there's how you can support me. There's also a PayPal link down there if you're so inclined. But to get a benefit, try Patreon. If people don't know, I did actually start memberships on YouTube. So if people in the chat like having special stickers to show that they're a member, it's only it's £2. It's quite cheap. But it doesn't get you access to anything extra video wise. That's Patreon only. But for £2, it's a bit of fun, shows some support, and it gets you some fun little stickers as well. So consider that if you haven't already. Um, Other than that, how to support me, guys, please also, if you haven't, check out the Telegram. It's a fun little group. We talk about all sorts on there. We share ideas. It's nice to keep a strong community where we can just stay in touch with each other all the time. It's good fun. So links down below for the Telegram. And I think that's all my links and plugs and shameless shilling for myself I can add to the end of this. Um, but yeah, guys, I'll see you in a week's time at the live show. I'll try and get a video out in the meantime. It's been lovely speaking to you all, and as always, God bless.